It's going all right. How are you this weekend?
Not too bad. I enjoyed the extra hour of sleep today for daylight savings time.
Oh, yes, that's true. It was nice. Get an extra hour.
Yeah, it really makes a difference. And even now, I feel like it's later than it actually is.
I know. I only remembered actually when the sun went down at 4:30 today.
Oh, that's so depressing.
I know. As if 2020 couldn't get much worse.
I know. It's almost the end. I have high hopes for 2021.
Hey, speaking of bad things in 2020, I thought it'd be fun before we get into this week's stuff that we go through the mailbag and see what people have had to say.
I'm interested to hear what they had to say.
And of course, I'm making this up because we don't have much of a mailbag. But if
No,
people, but
but
actually, yes, shameless plug. Go ahead.
speaking of mailbag, if ever one of our listeners do have any comments or questions or concerns or critiques about what we're saying, they can follow us on Instagram now at behind the t.curling.
Kelly's managing the account because I don't know what Instagram is.
Hey, at least you opened it and
In 5 years, when everybody moves on to something else, I'll finally know how Instagram works by then.
I think that downloading the Instagram app on your phone would be a good start.
I do. I have it on my phone.
Oh, really?
Yes,
So
I
you
even
can
have.
totally
I
you can
know.
take control.
I'm only a couple years behind you. So, anyways, let's go into the hypothetical mailbag. I something we need to clear up from the last episode. I did some research, and before we get in too much trouble, uh, sclerotinia is not coral.
I also did some research on this
Okay,
too.
good.
Well, first of all, it's one of those words that you're
Right,
not
you
exactly
were
sure how
thinking
it's
of
spelled.
that's it.
Scleractinia.
You were thinking of scleractinia. Sclerotinia is a pathogenic fungus that can cause disease called white mold.
Yeah, okay, so here's the thing. This is what I put into Google. I put sclerotinia, like RATI, and Google auto-corrected me to scleractinia. Like, you know how they at the top is like, did you mean this? So I just assumed, oh, okay, like, sure, that's what it was. But no, yeah, I found out it's sclerotinia.
It's got to be tough for our canola farmers. First, they get auto-corrected to something that's not something that's
I'm
in the ocean.
I'm gonna blame the English language on this, okay? Because there's no way I would have thought to put an O when it's sclerotinia.
No, true.
Unless
And
we're just mispronouncing it and it's sclerotinia.
it's true. And I tried to look up the difference between swathing and straight cutting
Mhm.
because we got pretty heated about that last week. I still maintain straight cut all the way,
I'm
but
swathing for sure.
I know. And I tried to find out what they both are, and it would have involved way too much effort. There's all these canola journals that with long scientific articles that I would have had to read, and
You ain't
we
got
can
time
only
for
put
that.
in so much effort into this podcast that
Yeah.
before we
I mean, we both have full-time jobs here.
that's right. So I left that alone. But one more quick anecdote from
Mhm.
last week, because last week we spent the whole time talking about curling commercials, and on the same day we actually got to throw rocks for the first time. And
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I was in quite a bit of pain all week.
Oh, I was too, at least for a good 3 days. Like, my upper thighs were just in pain.
And the worst part is I was at work and I came up to a staircase and I took a look at it and I had to climb the stairs after curling for the first time in a month. And the first thought that entered my head was, oh, I really wish there was an acorn stair lift.
You should, propose that, at your next, like, team resource meeting at the
I
end of
know.
the year.
I know.
Do
I
does
was
your school
hoping,
have an elevator?
yes, but it's kind of not reliable.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of
Yeah, because
scared to take it.
similar to you, my condo building does not have an Acorn Stairmaster, but it does have an elevator. So at one point, I did, shamelessly take the elevator to the 2nd floor
Oh, me too. I live on the
instead of
second
taking
floor
the
in my
stairs.
building too, and I took the elevator all week
Mhm,
until they
mhm.
get the stair lift in. That's the way I'm going.
And we need,
And
like, escalators or something. That would be great in,
yeah, yeah. I was hoping nobody saw me too struggle up the stairs. It was I was limping a lot this week.
no, it was just a struggle, when I was sitting down and then getting up again and then
Oh
sitting
yeah,
down.
that's the hard part. And one more quick thing before we it finally happened this week. For the first time in my whole life,
What?
I went to that store. It's just across the street from my apartment, and I've been there so many times. And it's a health store, and I'm walking
Mhm.
down the aisles, and I'm figuring, hey, we just talked about Strauss heart drops. Maybe they'll actually be here. And there, before my eyes, were
The Strauss heart drops?
at over $100 a bottle.
Ooh.
They had them. Now they were
Did you
behind a. I couldn't. No, I can't afford
well,
that. Not
for
on our
sure, they'd be
podcasting
behind
salary.
well, also, I'm not surprised they're behind a glass counter because at that price,
People would just
they
take
won't.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I did take a picture. It's kind of blurry because it's kind of far away. And of course, somebody came up and asked if they could help me. And I was like, no, 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 I'm fine. And hopefully they couldn't see me giggling because I was wearing a mask.
You should have asked them, how often do they sell those heart drops?
Oh, I was too shy.
Or,
I
like,
was
how
way.
long have they been on that shelf?
Have they been there since Randy Furby?
Probably.
That's right. So check out our Instagram page. It'll be up there if Kelly puts it up because
Yeah,
I don't know how to.
I will. I should have put a nice filter, use good hashtags.
Excellent. Oh, I got to do a segue, right? I have nothing. I'm not prepared.
Nothing? Okay, well
Bonjour. How about that?
bonjour, hi, konnichiwa. Yeah, so I guess this week's episode was inspired by, I guess, a topic of conversation from our pet peeves episode, where we're talking about certain terms that are used in curling that we're not a fan of, such as rink and vice or vice skip. And it kind of just got us thinking of, every region has their own specific curling dialect, if I could say.
Hmm.
Um, where terms are used in certain places and not in others. We compiled a list. I tried searching the interwebs for different curling terms because there are a lot out there just for like new curlers or people just getting into the game. And there's like glossaries and stuff where you can find all of this.
Yeah, and what I did, because I didn't coordinate this properly at all, was I looked up some of them in French.
Yeah, well, of course, because especially here in Canada, we have Quebec, which is French province. French is the official language, so anything that happens in Quebec needs to be translated in French, and there needs to be an official French term for every
That's right,
English
and there's
term.
some pretty interesting ones for curling that a lot of these I have never heard before.
And you know that the French players, they just use the English term but with a French accent.
That's right.
Because that's the thing too. I mean, I worked in translation for a little bit, and for French, any sentence you have to expand it by 25%. So, words like draw, which is faire un placement, like you're not gonna say
Much
that in
easier in English,
exactly, where they'll just say le droit.
of course.
Yeah, so this is kind of what we're gonna go through today. Do you want to start with the French ones, the French list?
Sure.
So I pulled a list from Curling Canada's website. And surprisingly, if you are viewing the Curling Canada website in English, it'll just give you the English list, and in French, it'll give you like the English with the translation. But the French list is about 3 times as long as the English one.
They have more terms.
They have more terms. There's English terms here in the French list that aren't in the English list with a definition.
Okay,
Yeah.
very interesting.
So I don't know if it's a copy paste from Curling Quebec's list.
Interesting. So my list actually is not from Curling Quebec. Mine is from the Office québécois de la langue française.
Oh, even more official.
Yes. So to anybody who is outside of Quebec, this is the government agency that ensures that the status of the French language is maintained in Quebec, and it gets a bit political. We don't want to go down that road, but they're the ones that we hear about in the news when a restaurant has a menu in English or something, and they get in trouble for it.
Mhm.
And so we hear these things, and of course they're in the news now because there have been some restaurants, even though they're barely struggling to stay open during the pandemic, that have had, I don't know, something poorly translated. But anyways, on the good side of all of this, the OQLF, as they're called, have put out a list of curling terms, which I'm pretty sure neither of us have ever heard of before.
Okay.
And that's what I have. I have their official list.
Okay. So I guess we can go through them and compare. I've like noted some honorable mentions.
Okay.
So we don't go through the whole list because that will take
No, no,
forever.
we'll be here for 3 days.
So this one, I'm not sure if it's just an error on the website, but they don't have an official translation for backboards or like the bumper.
Oh, wait, I think I have that.
Oh, really? Okay, so it must be an
Um,
error.
maybe I don't either. Oh, wait, no. I think I do. Oh, nope, never mind. I don't.
Oh. Oh, well, I guess you just can't call a bumper in French. It's just a weight that does not exist. Next thing, so I guess these are I'm going in alphabetical order here. The translation for Bonspiel is Bonspiel.
I never knew that.
Unless again this is an error on Curling Canada website, but no, they put Bonspiel, and it's kind of interesting because Bonspiel doesn't pronounce well in French.
Yeah, like
Like the only
Bonspiel or
Bonspiel, but what I've heard, and I think when most people just say tournoi, like a tournament.
yeah, or
Yeah.
championnat. Like
Or
if it's a or
championnat if it's a
championship, yeah,
championship.
or tournament for in English. It's I've
Mhm.
never heard that ever. Okay,
But I
I'll do
guess
one.
bonspiel is an
Yeah.
interesting word as well. Even if you use bonspiel in English, I think if you
That's
don't know
true.
what curling
When do
is,
you use it anywhere outside of curling?
you don't. Actually, we should find what the etymology of bonspiel is.
Oh, that's true. We should. Okay, I've got one. So I'm going to ask you it trivia style.
Okay.
Can you tell me what a semelle antidérapante is?
Oh, that's a gripper, isn't it?
Hey, well done.
Yeah.
Of course, something else we've never heard. I've only just heard le gripper.
I heard le gripper, or I think I heard clack once,
Wow,
a
never
couple
heard that.
in clack or
But
something like
never
that.
an semelle antidérapant. How many syllables is that?
Too
Like this
many.
is
You said
yeah,
too many words.
this is why we all shorten it to le gripper or
Le
even better, you're
un grippeur. Another one which I thought was, interesting was corner freeze or just a freeze. Appui de côté ou gel angulaire.
Okay, I have gel, but it never mentioned a specific kind of gel.
Well, if you wanna corner freeze it,
Ah,
it's a angular freeze. And then also flicked shot was another one.
I should know
What is
that.
it? Yeah, which is a term we don't really use, like, you just say, "Oh, I flicked the
Speak for
shot."
yourself. I flick a lot of shots.
On those outturn takeouts. In French
Of
was like
course.
crochet, so that was kinda interesting. And then what else? Oh,
Okay.
yeah, okay. This is another term that I've never heard anyone in curling say before in English, so I had to look at the definition, but have you ever heard of gooseneck?
Um, it rings a bell, but I've never used it.
So the French translation is coup d'oie, so, like,
Okay,
it's a
like a
literal
literal
translation.
gooseneck.
And oh, sorry, I only have the French translation. C'est dit de la partie recourbée de la poignée qui relie celle-ci à la tige qui traverse la pierre par le centre. So basically, it's the part where the handle meets the top of the rock.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Because people have
it's the
said like
gooseneck.
when you're holding the rock, like that's not the part you would grab.
Yeah, but I always just heard like the neck of the handle or just the.
Okay, but
I
that's
mean,
where I've heard it before. Because I know I'd
okay, yeah.
heard it, but I was like, I have no idea what
I
that
don't think
is.
I've ever heard of it before, but I mean, it kinda makes sense because it kinda looks like the neck of a goose, right,
I
with the
suppose,
handle?
yeah. Here's another
Yeah.
good one. This one, if you speak French, you know what it is, but glissade à talons levés,
Oh,
an official term.
you don't see those types of slides anymore either.
No, it really should be called la glissade manitobaine,
Yeah,
to
pretty
be
much.
honest.
The tuck,
A toe tuck
a
is,
toe tuck, or the
yes,
Manitoba tuck as you like to call it.
that's right. Or
Doesn't,
impending knee
who
surgery.
it's you gotta be careful with those tucks though, those tuck because, you're gonna wreck your knee in, like, 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any other ones?
Yeah, I'm looking for one where I'm gonna say like, what the heck is that? Oh, where was it?
Oh, do you know what a nose hit is in French?
Yes, I should. It should be on my list here.
Yes, because that's a common
Frappé
term.
resté.
Oh, that's not what I have on my list.
No,
It's a coup franc,
I've
which,
never heard that.
like, if someone says coup franc, I would not think of, like, a hit dead on, as Russ Howard would say. Like, a coup franc would just be, like, a good hit, you know?
Yeah. And of course, really, what we should also say, what we hear people say, and it's frappé sur le nez, literal translation, hit
Yeah.
it on the nose.
I mean, I think a lot of these are pretty much like literal translations,
Hmm.
but it's just, with French, there's so many words to say one little thing that English only uses like one word
Yeah.
for.
Here's another. Well, I'll do this trivia style again, but I'll do it the other way. I'll give you the
Okay.
term in English. You tell me what it is in French. What
Okay.
is an outturn according to
Uh,
the OQLF?
tourner vers l'extérieur.
Not bad.
Not
I'll
bad?
accept that. It's
Okay.
effet extérieur.
Effet. Oh yeah, because you're like putting a turn. So you're basically affecting the rotation of the rock.
Right. I've heard it go as like clockwise or counterclockwise in French, but or of course everyone just says un outturn.
Out there in turn.
Yeah, and in fact,
Really?
outturn should become. I'm thinking of Jean-Michel Ménard, who had a fantastic career curling out of Quebec, throwing only outturns, and I've never heard them say effet extérieur. It was always. In fact, they never
Sorry.
had to. They never had to declare a turn because you always knew what it was.
Exactly. Oh, do you know what the translation of rings is?
It's not going to be anneau,
No.
cercle.
Yeah, cercle.
Oh, I got one.
Wait, in parentheses, qui constitue la maison. So basically, circles that make up the house.
I know, like I have cercle de 12 pieds, de 8 pieds, 4 pieds, and bouton for button. That's
That
a good
makes
one. That
sense.
translates.
Okay, how about stay in the open?
I don't
This
I
is
don't know what you're talking about in English.
I guess it's maybe if you like hit and roll in the open, which I don't know
Okay.
why you would want to do that, but
Or if your draw didn't bury.
yeah, it stayed in the open.
Exposé. I don't know.
Oh, that's not too bad. There's one demeurer, which basically means to stay. Like, so I don't. Yeah, that would, I guess, if you like missed your shot and it stayed in the open, that would make sense in that context. Or rester à découvert.
Rester à découvert.
Yeah, yours to discover.
Yours to discover, like Ontario.
Yeah, exactly. This must be the Franco-Ontarians that use this terminology.
I would like that to catch on. I could be like, oh man, I Ontario'd my rock.
And then you see all these confused faces.
That's actually, this should become a thing. You know how, well, first of all, Randy Furby somehow comes up in every podcast we've done. And
We should
this
get
week
him
I'm
on the
thinking,
podcast.
I know this is this time I'm thinking of how his team started that whole zone system and then everyone copied him.
Wait, yeah, he was the inventor of the zones, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was his team that started that. And now everybody's like, oh, it's 6 and we know it's top 4 and so
do
yeah.
you use all the numbers or do you just do 1, 2, 3 and then 12, 4, 6 button?
I'm pretty much like 9, 10 because that's where most of my draws go. But no, I tried to use it. It's pretty good. It was very effective.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like this should be the new thing. Like rather than have people steal your signals, just you and your team come up with something really wacky like, oh, Ontario'd my shot again. And just try to confuse everybody.
Whoever does that, if ever we make it to the Scotties or the Brier or like a mixed championship, we have to come up with stuff. And then if ever we get on TV, just have the commentators trying to figure out what we're saying.
There we go.
It's kind
We'll
of
get viewers. Here's a classic throwback. I mean, you'll know what it is, but a balai de paille.
Straw broom.
Of course. We did a shameless plug last week for the hammer, where there won't be any straw on the ice. Le marteau, by the way.
Le marteau, yeah, what's the hammer? Do you know what a tap back is?
Oh wait, yes, I have that. It is a. I do have it. I want me to get this.
Control F that.
I know, it's just I don't remember what it was called, but I know I read it because you have to click on everything on the.
Oh, it's like a expandable.
It's a list, yeah, and you have to click on it to see. So I can't really search it, but I know I have it. So it was a tap back, right?
Yeah. Do 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 do. It's basically like 2 words that essentially mean the same thing.
Oh yeah,
I'm not a fan of this
monter.
definition.
I have just one word, monter.
Monter?
Yeah.
Really? That's not what Carolyn Canada says.
Oh, okay, it's a raise, but.
Oh, a raise. Okay, no, this is a tap back. They had frapper pousser, which basically translates as hit push. Hit push. Which does not exactly mean the same as a tap back. So a tap back, you just want to like, you know.
I see. Yeah. What about mouvement arrière?
You see, that I could see as a tap back.
That's what I thought, and that's what I thought it was, but that's not it.
Mouvement arrière. What would that be?
Oh, good. I've stumped Kelly.
Movement. It's like movement
I'll
from
give you a
behind.
hint. There's also mouvement avant. Are you a rock lifter?
Oh, like a lift delivery?
Yeah.
Is it
Or no,
mouvement
it's a
arrière?
backswing. It's just
A
backswing.
backswing? Oh, wow. I never would have guessed that. I guess I was just thinking of like the rocks moving, but
I know. Me too
so I
for
guess
most of these.
mouvement. What was the other one? Mouvement en
Mouvement
avant.
avant and mouvement en arrière.
Yeah, so like backswing and forward swing.
Hmm.
Makes sense.
Ooh, how about this one? A passage.
Is that like through the port?
Yep. Very
Oh,
good.
not
It's just a
bad.
port.
Yeah, because well, it's like a passageway, right?
Yeah, that one makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Still, I've never heard anyone say that.
Me neither. Here's one I think I have heard, and I'm glad I don't hear it so much anymore, but juge de ligne.
Line call? Oh,
Or,
like a line
well,
judge?
yeah, like a hogline official.
Oh, that makes sense. I can
Actually,
accept that one.
yeah, and actually, maybe I still hear that a lot because I'm not thinking of curling, but I'm thinking of every other sport like football or hockey where there's a linesman, and I think they're called the
Mm,
juge de ligne. So
okay. Yeah, I
maybe
can.
that's why I thought that one was familiar.
Yeah, and I think I remember at provincials we had like there were people whose sole role was to look at hogline violations.
I
This has
remember
got to
those
be
days.
what after like the person that sits and puts the scores up. I think that has to be one of the more boring
Can you
parts.
imagine having to call it on somebody who maybe just went over by a fraction of a centimeter?
Ooh, well, it depends on the people because there's some people who really release at the last second, and I'm sure there's quite a few borderline hogline violations.
I know, but oh, I would never be able to do that job.
Yeah. Can you imagine doing that too or calling it in a final, like a championship final?
Oh, I know.
That's
It'd
the
be horrible.
pressure. You really have to be confident in your line call.
I know. That'd be just awful.
That's why I release my rocks about 4 feet before the hog line. Don't have to worry about it.
I know. So does my brother. My brother, when he slides up to the hog line, he does this really awkward thing where he throws his hand like way up in the air, and I think he's well short of the hog line, but he makes himself look so suspicious.
I don't know. I've seen some from the other end of the sheet, and it's I guess perspective really makes a difference. But again, it's club curling, so I don't care that much. So, do you have any other French terms?
Like the way they've organized this list is horrible.
Is it non-alphabetical order?
It is, but when you're looking for the English version, because I don't remember what they are in French, so um, oh, here's one that I don't think you'll get. I think I might stump you with this one.
Okay, I'm ready.
Couronne.
Kuchen. Oh, I think I know what this is.
What is
Is
it?
is it the rim of the rock underneath?
Oh, very close. Not no,
Uh,
but you're on the right track.
is it the handle?
No,
Like the whole handle bit? No?
no, go in the middle of what you just said. Between the handle, between the bottom.
Like the actual granite?
No, the I'll give you a hint. At our curling club, they're not at the same level.
Oh, the running band on
The
the rock.
striking band, yeah.
Ah, I didn't know there was a word for that. A
Now you
kuchen.
do the
Okay.
couronne.
I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense.
Okay, what else do we have here?
I wonder who at the office came up with all of these terms. Like, do you think they're a curler or they're just a French linguist who found a suitable translation?
I wonder because when they put this list out a few years ago, I was on their email list, and I got the email with this when it was first released. I always remember that.
Oh,
Zone de lancement, what's that? Delivery zone.
that's probably between the backline and hogline, where you can deliver.
Okay.
Like, that's the amount of space. Excuse me, you have to deliver. While you're searching, funny story. Well, it's not a funny story, but it made me think of this. Is once it was one of our first competitions in Ontario with
Hmm.
my junior team, and obviously we were one of the only teams from Quebec, and we thought it'd be fun. Oh, let's speak in French during our game. Although like we're a very anglophone team and we always spoke in English. So Yeah, we just decided, like, on the it was either our first or second game, like, "Oh, yeah, let's do this all in French," and it did not go well. Like, even as someone who is very bilingual and can switch between the 2 languages, like, very easily, I guess, like, my brain is just so programmed in English that it felt so wrong and awkward to yell in French and to, like, make calls and stuff, and it basically lasted 2 ends, and then we were like, "This is a horrible idea, let's switch back," and the other team were, like, kind of confused, and, we hung out with them a bit after the game, like, as you should, right? To have a drink, a non-alcoholic beverage, because this was a competition, and we were underage. But, yeah, they were saying, "Oh, we're so excited. We saw that this we're gonna play a team from Quebec, and we were so excited to play a team that spoke French because they just assumed, 'Oh, you're from Quebec, you must speak French.'" And we're like, "Sorry, surprise, we're a very Anglophone team." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, we thought it was so funny how you guys, like, switched halfway through." And we're like, "Yeah, we realize that we can't even though we know the words, the brain can't process it and play well at the same time."
I know. You know what? You just reminded me of something. I remember back, like, well before that, I must have been, I don't know, 12, 13. Like, we had only been curling for a year or two, and we had never played like a competition. But I remember it was the early days of the internet, and me and some of my teammates thought it was funny. We printed out, I think we took Hurry Hard or something, and we put it into Google Translate or whatever. I don't even know if Google existed back then.
Oh, did you ask Jeeves?
We may have asked Jeeves, and Jeeves told us some how to say hurry hard in like every language we could imagine, and we printed the list out, and we went to the curling club, and we just yelled out whatever we had, and I thought it was funny. So did everybody I was with, and then our coaches got really mad at us, and
They're like, "This is not
this
professional."
is not funny. Get rid of that right now. I remember getting yelled at. Hey, what's
Aw.
wrong?
Hey,
We're
it's
learning our
as long as within your team, you know what you're saying and what you mean, that's all that matters.
I Ontario to my rock.
Mm,
It's got to
maybe we
catch
should
on.
I feel like we should start bringing I if ever we get a season this year, we should bring that into our club games.
I think so. I think we're onto something here.
Mhm, mhm.
So I have one more good one I found. Maybe you'll get it, but I've never heard this in my life because once again, the English word is so much easier. But
Okay.
déblayage.
Débrayage. Oh, is that a peel?
Yes, very good.
Yeah. At first I thought, because débrayage, I would think, "Oh, maybe, like, sweeping," because
It
when
has
you
the
like,
yeah.
déblayer la nei like, you're sweeping the or not sweeping, but, like, you're getting
That's
rid
what
of
I thought
snow.
of.
Yeah. But no, because it's clearing, right? You're clearing stuff, so what do you do when you peel? You wanna clear the junk in front of the house.
Right. We're gonna
So,
talk
that's
about
a
this.
smart one.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this one day when we get to our mixed doubles episode about the time that I tripped while sweeping a
Where you
rock. And
cleared the
that was
rock.
a good déblayage of several guards all at once by me.
That was I wish that that was on camera because it was the funniest thing I'd ever
Yes.
seen in my life. Anyways, we can go into that story at another time. Um,
Yes, please.
so that's pretty much it for I mean, unless you have some other French terms to go for, I was gonna move on to
Oh yeah,
another
you can move
list of
on. There's at least another 100, by the way. Most of them we could figure out. But just to say, I'm looking at all of them, and out of the 100 or so I have here, maybe 10 I hear on a regular basis, like
terms.
hors jeu for timeout, capitaine for skip, and the rest I've pretty much never heard.
But even, like, capitaine is one we hear often, but even then, like, skip is also a word that they use, le skip.
Yeah, I go by Jean-Michel Ménard and Marie-France Larouche, who represented Quebec for so many years, and really what they say to me should be maybe more so Marie-France. She spoke a lot more French. Jean-Michel anglicized his team quite a bit.
Yeah.
In fact, they
That
were like their names were Jean-Michel was Jim,
Oh,
and
really?
Rick was Rick, Martin Crete was Marty, or something. Like they had
They
completely
yeah.
anglicized their team. So I think the go-to thing if you want to know how to speak French in curling is watch Marie-France Larouche. Like
And
they would
she's
yell
from
hard, but
yeah, and she's from Quebec City or, like, Lévis, so they're, like,
mhm,
very in the French country of Quebec.
yeah, they knew it well.
Yeah, so I found another glossary list from our neighbors down south in the US.
Wait, they
Um,
have different terms in the States?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd say 80 to 90% of them are the same, but I did find some words that I've actually never used before. You're gonna get what they are, but yeah, I just haven't used these ones before. So this list I found was taken from the Cape Cod Curling Club, which I hear they have a good summer spiel there too, like a summer cash
Yeah,
day.
that's true. They do.
Yeah, go to it one day. Here,
Yeah,
Cape Cod. I haven't been
one
to
day
Cape
after
Cod
after
in
the pandemic.
yeah, I haven't been in a long time. So this one is something that came up often. It wasn't on the I didn't find it on Curling Canada's website. But have you ever used or heard chip or chip and roll?
Not really. Like, is that just you kind of a redirect?
Well, it's like a tick or a wick.
Okay.
Yeah. So a
Or
chip
a
is
Lisa Weagle.
yeah, or Lisa Weagle. So a chip is to only hit a slight portion of the stone, and a chip and roll, when moving a stone, chips another stone and moves to rest at a different position.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't think chip is a commonly used term here in Canada, or at least I've rarely heard it, but I would naturally say, "Oh, it ticked the rock," or "ticked
Right.
and rolled," or "wick." I've heard "wick" before too, but I
Right.
feel
Or it
"tick" is more
rubbed it because
or
normally,
rubbed it,
yeah,
yeah.
normally that's when you miss. And more, I've ticked guards or chipped
Mhm.
them, whatever. Usually when I'm trying to go around them, I don't think I've ever pulled off a tick shot on purpose. So
Oh, I'm sure you have.
on
Um,
purpose, I
or
don't know.
or another thing that we say often is if you're, I guess depending wide or narrow on a hit or or like on a draw, and you're heavy and you'll say, "Oh, let's go for the tick, let's go for the tick." I think we'll say that. I never heard anyone say, "Oh, let's go for the chip."
Let's chip it.
Or I guess sometimes you can say, "Oh, yeah, I guess if someone missed a shot and he and just grazed a rock, like, oh, they just chipped it." But
Okay.
yeah, but that was a word that came up often, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know if they say that a lot in the US,"
Interesting.
but,
It sounds golf-like to me.
yeah,
I should say this that I know a lot of curlers are golfers. I am not a golfer at all, so I don't know what I'm talking
neither am
about.
I. Neither am I. This isn't do you know what a counter is?
One that's the shot rock.
I've never heard of this term either used, and also I don't know why you would say it, but no, counter is a rock in the house that is in a scoring position, and I've seen
Okay, yeah.
other
No, so like a rock that could score.
yeah, but it's not necessarily a shot rock. It's
Oh,
basically
okay.
a rock in the rings.
Okay. Yeah. Like I think I've heard that, but I don't really like that. If you've got 16 rocks in the house and you've got a little biter, I wouldn't call that a counter. It's like it's not even there.
Yeah, or even I can imagine if red is shot rock and then blue is second shot, you could say blue's the counter rock, but I've never heard of this before. I also don't really know why you would like how it would come up in conversation during a
Yeah,
game.
because you would say like we're sitting two or we're shot, but uh-oh, they're second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Yeah, yeah, so, and also I just don't understand counter as because counter to me just means like, oh, the opposite of or like to go against something,
Hmm.
but it just means a rock in the scoring position, so. Another one, lost turn.
Lost turn. I have definitely not heard that.
Can you give a guess of as to what it is
A
or a
rock that's
synonym?
picked and now has no handle.
Well, yes, it just means no handle or dead handle. A stone that has no turn on the handle and does not curl.
Interesting.
So that's also I've heard dead handle before or no handle, lost its handle or something. But lost turn, never heard that one. And then of course our favorite one is on this list, a rink. A team of
Ah, there
four
you go.
a
Blame the
team of
states.
4 curlers, also the building in which the game is played. I was like, they gotta remove this one. And also to your favorite term, vice skip. So they have third in their list of in their glossary, but synonyms they have for that is vice, vice skip. And can you guess what the fourth one is?
So wait, say that again. So skip, vice skip, second.
No, so for third, like synonyms for third. So we have vice,
Okay.
vice skip, and then they have another term that could be used for third.
Oh boy. Assistant. I don't know.
Oh, no. Mate.
Hmm.
Yeah, like, "Hey, mate." I don't know. Maybe the Aussies use this, I don't know, but I've never heard mate before.
I I don't think I have. I mean, not by any American team. I'll say that. I've curled a little bit in the States. I've never noticed a difference in curling lingo.
Yeah, mate, definitely not used in Canada at all. So,
No.
anyways, those are some honorable mentions from our dear American friends. And in my quest of finding curling term like international curling terms, or I wanted to find terms used in different languages and see if we can kind of figure it out. But that proved really hard to find. I did stumble upon another website though, called the International Curling Information Network Group. So I think quite the mouthful,
Yeah.
but it looks like a crowdsourced website that just puts a lot of information on curling. It looks like it was built in 1995, but I found this amazing list. Again, the glossary of curling terms with definitions, but it's not your typical definitions. It's joke ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have to see this.
So I'll give you a couple. I'll make you guess a couple, I guess.
Okay.
Um,
I've given up on my French list, by the way, so now I'm actively paying attention. I'm
okay,
not scrolling through this random website on the side.
so we have, and honestly, these are really relatable. So this list was made by real curlers. First one is beginner or green.
Okay.
But the definition they put is the new curler who makes great shots with wrong turns and crappy deliveries. How many times have you been in a club game and they just make an amazing shot and they miss the broom by 10 feet, wrong weight, and it's just perfect?
Oh, that's amazing.
Or, at our club, the ice can be very special depending on which sheet you're on. And, there's some takeouts that if you have above a certain weight, the rock's going to do one thing. And if you have down weight, it's going to do another. And our
Of course.
takeout weights are too much of a takeout weight. And then the other team who really can't like, they can't throw more than board weight, the rocks just manage to
They get it
curl.
there.
They get behind another rock to move it just enough, and add a dead handle or a lost turn on
That's
that.
it. A pierre sans effet.
Un pierre sans effet. There you go.
That was what I left it open on.
And this is another one, that also I think we've experienced, a definition for a blanked end.
A boring end? They're going to say something about that?
Or I'd go more with a frustrating end. It's the one where nobody had draw weight. We've
Oh, well
definitely had
said.
that where, like, every rock goes through the house.
Oh, I know.
Again, draw weight. Damned if I know.
So
Uh,
this is like an urban dictionary for curling.
yes, right. Some of these are really great.
Oh, that's so good. I have just a quick story with my brother. You weren't there for this, but there was a time when we curled in July at a local curling club. They put in ice because there was a rich NFL owner in town and he really wanted to try curling.
Was it the Patriots? Was it Mr. Kraft?
I don't believe so. I think it was I never found out the team, but they put in ice and we all curled in July and it was really, really weird. The ice was good, I think. I couldn't really relate to anything in July, but it came together very last minute, this little tournament. So we were scrambling to get whoever we could get. And my brother was one of the people who I was playing with. And he usually doesn't skip, but he decided, okay, I'll skip this time. He didn't want to play. It was the condition of, okay, if I'm doing this, I'm skipping. And he
Mhm.
hates blank ends, whether they make sense or not. He notoriously likes to load it up.
I don't blame him. They're so boring.
I don't either. And I think he did load it up and we had rocks in play. And yet somehow we blanked the first five ends.
Were all
And
the rocks, like, in the free guard zone and just around in the back?
no, just whoever was shooting skip was blasting them out.
Oh,
And
damn.
and I remember in the fifth end, because they were six end games. So in the fifth end, he's got a chance to blank. Now it's wide open. But this time you actually do want to keep the hammer and take it home.
Yeah.
And because we're in the second to last end. And he comes down and he says, I'm putting it on the lid. And I'm sweeping his rock. I'm like, no, this is the one time you really want to blank. And he says, no, I refuse. I'm putting it on the lid.
Just my principle.
Yeah,
Oh,
by
dear.
principle, he insisted. And just like your definition, he missed. He slid right through. I
So
don't even remember if we won or not. I just remember that.
So also on this list, they make a lot of fun about skips because, the skips can be blamed for a lot of things, and
Of
skips also
course.
do a lot of the blaming. So here are some good definitions include the skip. So one is a combination for outside, inside, or a new term called pinch the broom. And so these are expressions used by your skip to say you missed the shot. However, the term is never implies that the broom was positioned in the wrong place. In the wrong place in the first. Sorry, the term never implies that the broom was positioned wrong in the first place, which is a common argument you see with people. They're like, "Oh, you keep throwing them outside. Well, you're giving me too much ice and stuff."
I really want to get playing now. Like these are some things that need to be said.
For sure. And then a pick. So that happens quite often too and very frustrating. But this is the reason given by the skip for his or her stone coming up 12 feet short on a free draw. I've definitely heard some skips use this
Yeah.
definition. And then finally, I have one here for a trophy, which I think you can very much relate to. So, definition for a trophy is the prize given to a winning team, obviously. Usually, it will not fit inside of a minivan, takes four gloating grown-ups to carry it, takes up three-quarters of a photograph, and has not been has not been engraved for the past 12 years. Smaller varieties fill attics, garages, and basements everywhere. So, Rob, my question for you is how many how many trophies do you have lying around that have not been engraved?
Actually, just one.
Just
Bec-
one? Well, one of them you've returned back to the curling club.
right, just a week ago. Like if we had
Yeah.
done this 2 weeks ago, I would have said two. Um, but no, we used to do in Montreal the in juniors a what we called the Montreal Junior Challenge or something like that, and it
The
was like the
Arkham
Continental
Challenge.
Cup, yeah. And I think you and I were captains of the team the last time they had it,
Yeah, or the second one
and
of the years
or I
anyways.
think so, and I know we won because the trophy is still I think 10 years later in my parents' basement.
Oh, is it?
It's still there.
We should bring it back to its
I
rightful
know.
owner.
I'm thinking of one day just bringing it to a curling club and finding like pushing some trophies out of the way on the shelf and just leaving it there.
Didn't we come up with a plan last year? I don't know if it was this trophy or another trophy that because the club there's so many trophies all over the place and most of them haven't been used in
50
decades.
years, yeah.
Yeah. They're just there for decoration. And we came up with an idea to take one of the trophies and just kind of shoehorn it in there somewhere and just wait to see how long it takes for someone to realize that this trophy shouldn't be here. So I think we should do that with the Arkham one because I mean, where else? What else are we gonna do with it?
I know. It's got to get cleaned though first. It's covered in dust and
Oh yeah.
cobwebs. It's really gross.
Or I mean, we can try and get someone to revive the challenge. Except I don't know if there's enough players in Montreal left to
I know.
satisfy that
I'm
many.
totally out of touch with what goes on in the competitive scene, or at least at the junior level. There was a time when we aged out and we knew who was behind us, and that's a distant memory. I saw like one tournament over Christmas last year because I knew some people playing in it, and I was like, I have no idea who any of these people are.
Yeah, I'm so out of it as well. But I remember that tournament being pretty fun though.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Too bad there are no tournaments now.
But anyways, if you have time, I feel you should definitely take or else I'll send you the link. But if anyone else out there listening wants to check it out, it's the International Curling Information Network Group or icing.org, and it's called Curling Humor Terminology.
And now that we've got like thousands and thousands of listeners, this can snowball into something very interesting. I think people can because you can upload your own definition here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if someone is still maintaining the
Maintaining.
web
Okay.
page, but it says contributions and updates requested.
Okay.
Um,
Well, somewhere
but
out
it
there,
looks
there's
like a very
people.
outdated website, like
Oh
a
yeah,
really
you said it was from 1995.
yeah. Oh, here's another definition that was pretty good. A definition for biter. It's that one rock in the
The
last
one that
end.
you tried to hit the pin with.
No, close, but it's the one in the last end of a tied game that has been shot at and missed 6 times in a row.
That's even more true.
We've had that, especially on certain sheets. Oh, and then negative ice too. A skip's explanation for missing his or her shot by a mile.
Oh,
So yeah, a lot of definitions are used, or a lot of terms are used as
not just the trophy one. I can relate to pretty much all of those.
yeah, they're very relatable. I mean, there's so many like no one takes ownership for missing their shots, right? There's always something. It's the ice, it picked, wrong broom, the ice is falling and stuff like that. Or it's like, no, it's not falling. You just flick out your out turns.
That's right. This is why we had our matching rocks rant
Yeah.
in our
Oh, speaking of matching rocks, this is also another excuse that you can use. This is a definition for the toss of the coin or flipping of the coin, which is a very important part of the game. It determines the color of the handles on the rocks upon which you will blame your poor shots, which is also very true.
This is really true. That's
Yeah. So I don't know. Congratulations to whoever came up with this.
yeah, that's the perfect
These are
summary of
yeah.
our lives in curling.
I feel that we should use the next time if ever I give another like curling clinic or something to new people that we should incorporate
Yeah,
these.
the brutally honest clinic
Exactly.
where we just I'll print that out and I'll be ready to tell them like this is what you do when you want to make this excuse, and I think we're on
Exactly.
it. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Make it interesting. I'm sure it will make people want to continue curling.
It's
Um,
always good when you
Increase
can
our
blame
retention
somebody
rate.
else. Yeah.
Keen is another one. The attitude of a curler in the first end until the opposition scores 6. Anyways, it's a very good one. It made me lull.
And I've not heard of it until just now. Very interesting.
Yeah.
On that note, just before we go, I quickly Googled because that reminded me of an Urban Dictionary thing, like curling on Urban Dictionary. Just very
Oh,
quickly,
yeah.
its definition is this is not nice, but when a person's personality is so dead, in brackets, uninteresting and boring that you would rather watch curling.
Oh,
Used
man.
in used in a sentence. I stopped talking to Alex because he was so curling. And then there's a good, if you want to look this up, there's a good GIF or GIF or whatever it's called of this poor guy getting plowed by a takeout.
No.
These rocks go. It was a good déblayage.
Deep ash. Yeah, you gotta be careful with those peel away tits, eh?
There's
I
many
feel like
other
it's always
definitions.
something you have to watch out for when you have people like rentals on the ice because they have zero weight control and zero like awareness of what's going on around them. And sometimes they just throw a bullet down there and you're just like, oh my God, watch out for yourselves.
I know there's been a few. Very quick story before we go. I once did I once helped out with a rental, and there was somebody who was blind, and he wanted to try curling, and he
Did he wipe out?
no, he threw the rock, but he wanted to try it, and he threw it onto the next sheet and nearly took out somebody.
Oh
It was a
no.
little bit scary, but nobody died. So
I'm kind of interested in how it works for the blind because it's
yeah, I
maybe we could do like a Paralympics episode because I know curling, there's wheelchair curling. Um, but how is the sport adapted for other disabilities?
that's a very good question. I know we've curled against the deaf curling team.
Oh
There's
yeah,
a
you
deaf
see that
curling
can work.
championships.
Anyway, so that's do you have any other last
No,
terms
I'm
for
looking at
that?
other Urban Dictionary curling definitions, and they're all not safe for work.
Oh, okay, so
So
go research that
don't
on
look
your
it up,
own
kids.
time, folks. But yeah, so that's it for this week's episode. Remember, follow us on Instagram, leave a
Whatever
comment.
that is.
Leave us a comment as to what your favorite curling term is or definition, or if you can come up with a funny definition like this website here that I found. Please let us know. So at behindthetee.curling on Instagram. Until next week.
See you later.
Bye.